And hello, interwebs. Thank you for joining us for the GITV live show on September 16, 2014. I'm Bob the Axeman Hildebrand, and this is
Daniel.
Excellent work, Daniel. Now, as far as the table of contents for today, we've got some new promotions we're going to talk about. We also have our topic, which is, what is MILSIM? And we're also going to talk about American MILSIM's Operation Ironclad, which Daniel and myself are both going to, along with our editor, Max. Awesome! It's our first American MILSIM event ever. Now, on top of that, we also have new products coming up near the tail end of the show. We're going to have 5 to 10 minutes for Q&A and shout-outs. All right, so as far as currently available promotions, we have our sniper giveaway going on, as well as our coupon code it's called Lone Star for 21.5% off select items. We also have Burst Wizards available on our website on over 300 AEGs for for 50% off when you buy them with an AEG. The FNX 45 is now available on our website. It was pre-order for a while now. It's currently available. We also have Bob the Axeman's Rebel Training Camp East Coast coming up on October 4th at Exxon, Virginia. So buy those tickets now. It's going to be really fun. We also have our weekly Facebook giveaways on an Airsoft GI Facebook. So if you want to get free stuff, make sure to get on over to our Facebook. We also have a GI Tactical Gear Up sale on Saturday, September 27th. So if you want to get gear for my Rebel Training Camp or any other operation, make sure to hit up GI Tactical on September 27th. That's going to do it for new promos. So without further ado, what is MILSIM?
I have no idea.
You're full of crap. You know, just to start off with, there are a lot of things for different people that make a game MILSIM. And if people don't know what that term means, it means military simulation. When I started out, some of the few key factors that were important in a MILSIM game were having mid-capacity magazines. You know, they didn't want everyone to have, you know, a quote-unquote machine gun out there for every rifle.
Yeah.
Uniform requirements, like, it used to be like desert or tan versus green. Obviously, there's a lot of other requirements like IPRO and whatnot, but usually there'll be a command and rank-based structure like, company command, platoon sergeant, squad leader, and so on and so on. What do you think are like some of the key rules for MILSIM, Daniel?
Well, the first thing I want to say about MILSIM is that, in my mind, it's kind of like the highest level of Airsoft, in my personal opinion. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of different levels of Airsoft. I think that's the best way I can describe it, where like there's people that will just, kind of play on their own. There's local fields that, you always want to be playing at and stuff like that, that's open to the public that anybody can play anytime. And then there's also like some more organized games that you might have to register to. But then MILSIM is like tops. That's like all the way up there. And to me, that's what like MILSIM is, and that's because of the experience of it. Like when I first started playing Airsoft, I was like, oh, I dream of going to a MILSIM event one day. I dream of it. And now I'm lucky enough to go to, I've gone to a couple of them, and this weekend's going to be great. So what I think MILSIM is like that experience, and then what creates that experience I think one of the big things is a very specific set of rules.
Yes.
To make the game as realistic as possible, that like when I play at SC Village, I'll use a 300 round high cap, and my gun will be shooting 25 30 BBs a second or something like that, and that's almost more, I guess, a sports or a competitive mentality.
Speed softening a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And then MILSIM is about making it as realistic as possible while still being fun at the same time. So a lot of the rules, like you mentioned before, you have to have specific BDUs. Like you have to have the green, woodland, or you have to have the desert, 3-color desert. Otherwise, you can't play. So that's definitely more hardcore, and it's more of a commitment in terms of money and cost and all that stuff too. But that's part of the experience. So it's not like I got an armband around me. It's like, oh, there's 10 guys. Those are the hostiles that go after them. Like that's really part of the experience. So that and all those other specialized rules that, for American MILSIM, Ironclad, one of their rules that they initiated, I believe this year, is that the rifleman class, you have to be semi-auto only, which I think is really interesting. What are your thoughts on that?
I actually really like that idea. I mean, and I'm a little bit biased because I'm going to be bringing my LM4 as my primary rifle. I generally only fire on that with semi because that's what's most effective. And I think you'll find with from what I've been told by a lot of current and former military folks is that, I mean, with a service rifle, you're not going to be going on 3-shot burst or full auto to get accurate fire on target. You're going to be going semi-auto with aim shots. So it makes a lot more sense. And also, like, a MILSIM event would be kind of weird with like everyone having machine guns. So it's
Yeah,
tough.
definitely. And so they have that rule, from what I've seen, to try to make it more realistic for those LMG or the support gunners out there. Because if I have an Airsoft AEG that's shooting, let's say 20 BBs a second, and then I have an M249 that is shooting the same rate of fire but just has a bigger magazine capacity, it really doesn't stand out as much because you still have a 130 round mid-cap magazine. But now if all the riflemen are semi and then you have a guy with the M249 and he's shooting 20 BBs a second, that support gunner is going to be so much more valuable that when you see support gunner, all right, I'm going to put him here to defend this position or something, or lay down suppressing fire, it actually makes it more realistic.
It gives it added value.
Exactly.
So you're basically going to be everyone's best friend if you're the support gunner.
Yes.
And also it makes carrying that extra however many pounds worth it.
Yes.
And speaking of pounds, I believe you're going to be bringing the Crytek LMG,
yes.
which is in and of itself really lightweight and is going to count as a support weapon.
So exciting.
So we've been told by American MILSIM staff for this game. I actually want to bring out something about the tiered levels of games, because you mentioned earlier that MILSIM was like the highest level you could go for, and I think it goes like recreational, scenario-based, operational, where it's it's an operation, but it may not necessarily be MILSIM, and then on top of that would be MILSIM. And I would agree with you in that, like, when I was getting into Airsoft, like, going to, at that time, an operation was synonymous with MILSIM. It was the same thing, because that's what was available at the time.
Yeah.
But going to one of those, it's such a large-scale event. You get to see these things that you've never seen before in Airsoft, like platoon or even company-sized engagements where you've got like groups of 100 or 200 people engaging another 100 or 200 people. And on top of that, having armor or vehicles in your game. It can be done in recreational games, but the scale which it's done on some of these MILSIM operations is honestly so awesome.
Yes, I would definitely agree. I don't think that you have to have a specialized AO or have to have vehicles for it to actually be considered MILSIM. But a lot of MILSIM events have very cool, unique, one-time AO or vehicles, helicopters or Humvees or anything like that too. I have seen hardcore MILSIM events that are it's just like woodland and hills, and the guys will camp out for 2-3 days, constantly player. I would still consider that MILSIM, but I think it's awesome when you got those crazy AOs and you got those vehicles that you have those movie moments, as we mentioned before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing I want to mention is one of the first probably moments where I almost peed myself with absolute nerdy joy was at I believe it was Line Claw 6 where we finally got in the middle of the day armor support. I was like, this is awesome, I can't wait. We got 2 tanks, Airsoft tanks, that each had machine guns and rocket launchers, awesome, and were amphibious. And we engaged a tree line and encountered enemy tanks. So it was a tank-on-tank battle with infantry support. And again, there was a little bit where I just sat there and I was like, wow, life is awesome. I mean, it was just great. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things. If you want to take your experience to the next level, you go to a military simulation game. And, there are a lot of people that, it can be kind of not necessarily nerve-wracking, but, going out to your first one, you can be a little nervous. There's a lot to prepare for. And like, the uniform requirements, getting your gun set up and, making sure you have mid-caps. It is a lot to do, but at least being out there, like in the middle of it, that's when it all comes into play, and all of your financial resources you put into it are really worth it. So yeah, I can't wait for American MILSIM's off Ironclad. We're going to be leaving in T-minus 2 days, I think. I'm going to watch.
Very accurate watch.
Yeah, very accurate. So.
Yeah, I'm really excited to get out there. I remember like one of my, but I don't want to say my favorite MILSIM moments, but like the first time I jumped into like a transport truck in the back, and it wasn't even like super big deal because we weren't even shooting and nobody was shooting at us, but it was just like I was in the back of the 7-ton, which is a big truck that can carry, I'd say, what, like 20 people or so, and like you're just sitting on the benches and you're facing each other, and the truck's just driving to the location where the enemies are at, and I'm staring at all these guys. I'm like, this is badass.
This is dope.
This is super dope. But yeah, there's so many great like cinematic movie moments that, like when we went to Irene, I remember you were talking about how you and Josh were sitting down and you guys were just watching the night firefight. You saw lasers and smokes and like pyrotechnics and all that stuff. Like it's completely different. It's amazing.
It reminded me actually of this old photo I think I'd seen in Soldier Fortune magazine of 2 guys that were literally just had their weapons on their legs and were just like watching a city on fire. And we were literally sitting inside the U.S. Embassy at Fort Knox at their mount town, and we were literally watching the city light up with explosions. Some buildings were on fire, and we just sat there like, man, I don't even want to shoot anything. I just want to sit here and just chill and watch all this crap go down. And speaking of that, I would like to bring up there has been a change to American MILSIM's rules to make it more military simulation-like, which this rule change, I actually stand behind because I think it's smart. For Op Ironclad, and I believe future American MILSIM ops, you're going to have to wear the same headgear as the color of the team you're on. So if you're on COS, Coalition of Sovereign Territories, and you're going to be wearing green camo, or Daniel and I are wearing OD, your headgear has to match that camo, so it's got to be green. And that was to prevent situations like when, let's say, you're on the green team and you have a tan helmet and you peek over a wall and you see the enemy team, they're going to think you're on the tan team because all they see is a tan helmet. Yeah. So if you get, if you light them up and they get pissed off, it's a really hairy situation. And having the same headgear color as the rest of your stuff is going to alleviate that problem, even though it may be a little more frustrating for players who don't already have that equipment. But all you need to do is go get some spray paint like I did.
Yeah, and yeah. I think that's a great rule. And, see, it's rules like that I know does make it more tricky, and it is more expensive that if you don't have the right headgear, you might need to spray paint it or buy the right gear too. That it's for the experience that, if you have to go out and buy new BDUs just for a specific event, that is kind of a hassle. But, I don't see it as you're paying just to play Airsoft. It really, really is an experience on its own. So I think the fact that, they wanted to match the headgear with the camo for everybody else, I think that's definitely really, really good and really important. So it's nice that you don't get, mixed match and friendly fire. The other thing that I think... I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
The other thing that I think is part of MILSIM a lot is reading. When it comes to signing up for a MILSIM, and this is more for you guys, for the newer players, if you guys are considering playing a MILSIM event for the first time or you guys want to get into it, there's a lot of reading. And what I mean by that is a lot of the communities for MILSIM have forums and have communities, and then the warlords and the player packets. If you guys aren't familiar with that, before you even go to a MILSIM event, you're going to receive a player packet, which is a document of, I would say, at least 10 to 20 pages, if not more, depending on the event and depending on which company you're going with. But essentially, it is an explanation of everything that's going to be happening at the MILSIM event, what the rules are, what the requirements are, what the equipment you would recommend, or what they would recommend. And that is a big part of it, that you have to read all of those rules and understand it all very clearly, because when you have 500 random people go to Camp Shelby, that's what we're doing this weekend at Ironclad, everyone already knows what all the rules are, who's on what team, what platoon you're going to be in, what are the requirements for all the equipment, and all of those smaller details that make MILSIM what it is. You have to know that stuff right away, and I think that's one of the big things that I recommend for any of the newer players. Check out Lion Claws, check out American MILSIM, Black Sheep MILSIM, stuff like that. Those are great companies that run amazing events, but they might have different rules here and there. Look into their community and look at the warlord and player packets if you guys sign up, and get more involved with them. If you guys want to check out a MILSIM game, I would highly recommend it. It's like the peak of Airsoft in my opinion. It's great.
Absolutely, and there are some events like Operation Irene that I used to term the Super Bowl of Airsoft. It was like basically the pinnacle of what you could do, because that's at a Special Forces training course at Fort Knox, and it is. I mean, we were talking about earlier, like when that bridge detonated and you were right near it. Josh and I were overwatching it, and we're like, "Wow, that was a big explosion." Wait, isn't Daniel right there? Yeah. And the flames were like, "Oh my god!" Yeah. So that in and of itself was crazy. But I would like to actually point out a difference between like the operational and the MILSIM, because a lot of people, or some people, have referred to like the Tim versus Bob games as MILSIM, and they are not MILSIM. They do have scenario-driven gameplay. But we do not have magazine requirements in any sort. Like in fact, I believe most of our operations, we don't require. I mean, if you want to bring out a box mag, high capacity magazines, just bring out everything you got. Bring out all the firepower you want. But that is one of the differences between our games and other ones. And the other one is that our uniform requirements are very lax. Like civvies are tan for my side usually, and green for the other side. And go ahead.
I was say, if you say tan camo versus green camo, there are dozens of tan and green camos. So it's not saying that you have to specifically be 3-color desert, which is one specific type of tan camo. So that's also where I think the MILSIM events really differ, that you have to have a specific color, a specific camo, I should say, instead of just like a general color.
Absolutely. And actually, speaking of that, someone was asking earlier, what does multicam count as, green or tan? I have seen games that count multicam as tan, which I think is a little weird because to me multicam seems green. But multicam does kind of thread a little bit of the middle of the line there, and that's why it's important to read the warn order to see which camos go with which side. Definitely.
I've also seen some events that will distinguish multicam on the side that is considered the U.S. side, because it is generally more of a U.S.-based camouflage. So I mean, that's another factor, that if organization is running an event like that, it may be different, and that's where reading, a lot in the forums and the communities, and then reading the websites of these different MILSIM communities, check them out. I would highly recommend that everyone try to play at least one MILSIM event. Like, guarantee you, it will be like nothing that you ever played before. These smaller skirmishes at like local fields of like 30 on 30, 40 on 40. That's nothing compared to playing, 200 on 200 at a military facility.
Yeah,
that's like, oh my god.
I would like to point out a comment that someone said. Airsoft Rush says, but GMR showed up to Tim vs. Bob 4. And that's right, GMR did show up to Tim vs. Bob 4, and it was kind of interesting to have him there, because I'd honestly never met him in person, and they didn't really say hi to me. But regardless, like, they showed up to our event to play in a MILSIM fashion at one of our games, and you're always more than welcome to do that. I'll roll up to our games essentially how I would to most MILSIM games. Like, I'll have my LM4, which is just mid-capacity magazines, but that's just how I like to play. So if MILSIM players want to show up to a non-MILSIM game and operate in a MILSIM fashion, everyone's free to do that. But, you may have less firepower than your opponents, but it's going to be more of a challenge.
Yeah, and I think that's where the crossover goes, like, one way or another. So, like, I know there's that funny term of, like, do you even MILSIM, bro, and stuff like that,
R15.
I mean, I know that there's players out there or teams out there that will only play at MILSIM events, and that may mean they're only playing 1 or 2 airsoft games the entire year. They may not skirmish. Yeah, and they may not play recreationally, but that's up to them. And there's other players that might play at their local field every single weekend, but may never have tried going up to the MILSIM level. So I mean, it's not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing, but I would check out a MILSIM event if you haven't had a chance yet.
Absolutely, absolutely. And by the way, Josh is watching and throwing in some comments, which is pretty fun. We also had a question here that was related to MILSIM, and it's gone. Wow. Oh, yes. Now, Chuckles asked, what do you think about drone use in MILSIM games? Have you ever seen that?
I haven't seen a drone. Actually, no. I've seen, we use the quadcopters at Assault and Antioch, which was great. But I'm assuming if you're saying drone use, I'm guessing you mean of using
for tactical use.
Yes, for tactical use and intelligence and stuff like that. I think it's awesome, but I think it needs to be balanced, because let's say one team has drones and like, I know the bad guys there, and there. Like, that might be one of those things that might make it unfair.
Well, it's definitely an advantage and an unfair advantage. But the thing is, it can also be a hindrance if someone is too focused on using the drones that they're slow to push out their forces or at least maneuver them around tactically. There's actually I've seen drone use tactically on an airsoft battlefield a number of times, and about every single time it was awesome. I actually used a drone at Tim vs. Bob 3 that I brought out to the woods, is the one that we have in our office, and it was kind of windy, so it only worked for all about 5 minutes. We basically used it to pierce the tree line, the top cover of the trees, and I could see where Tim's forces were, and then the wind just immediately swept it away. But we used it at Red Storm 2 out here in Southern California, and we put it up, and the gentleman who actually brought it out, their iPad had ran out of batteries, but I still had the drone app still on my phone, so I let him use my phone, and we sent the drone over one of the buildings, and we ran to one of our friends on the other side who was on the other team. So we all started checking smoke, and he saw the drone right above him, and he had his head cam on. So it was really cool. It was the first time where we could spot someone. We assaulted a corner, and then we had our friend with a camera on the exact opposite side getting the exact opposite view of the battlefield. So it was really interesting. And I know from their perspective, when they saw the drone come over, then they saw the smoke come over, and they saw us come up, even though they're getting rickrolled, they're like, this is so cool. So.
I think that also brings up something else to mind, that another very important and amazingly fun aspect of MILSIM is the teamwork and organization. When you go to a MILSIM event, generally speaking, you'll actually be put into a platoon and a squad, and so you're very organized that you're supposed to play with a small group of guys the entire time. There will be a commander that will issue orders, and you got to execute the orders, capture this point, defend this point, and then that brings me to the communication. The radios. That's one of the funnest things that, like, I remember Irene, or Josh and Bob were sniping in this tower, and then I was down there with Ross, and we were communicating back and forth. There's a guy there, there's a guy there. That's something you don't get, generally speaking, at a regular skirmish.
Nope.
It's absolutely amazing. Yeah, so there's the teamwork organization is really, really big in my opinion as well.
And radios, like you mentioned, are incredibly important at MILSIM operations, especially if it's a large field. I would like to make a note, people who are asking for shout-outs, we're going to do shout-outs in the last 5 minutes of the show, which is going to occur around like 5:05, 5:10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Yeah, I mean, being able to call out positions or enemy positions to your teammates or other friends out of the field essentially makes you a force multiplier. It makes you more important than just one individual in the field. You're essentially part of a network. And it's also really handy for calling in reinforcements if you're overwhelmed. So definitely always important to have communication on a MILSIM game, and also for emergency purposes. If you, like, let's say, fall down an elevator well, which has happened before, or if you break your ankle, or something else happens where you may need help, emergency medical support, or anything else, or like, let's say you have a seizure. It's good to have that communication, and at the very least your cell phone on your person.
And I think that also brings up another good point, is that MILSIM is definitely more physically demanding than a lot of the recreational games. Recreational games, they could be shorter, they can be 20 minutes, they can be an hour, but we were looking at the event schedule for Ironclad. The first evolution was, what was it, 6 hours?
I think about 6 hours.
6 hours of non-stop airsoft. So you actually you have to take water, you have to take some food out there, and that's not to say you can't leave the field and take a breath and stuff like that too, but you're talking about like 6 hours, you got 400 people, 400 or 500 people on one AO, and they're just constantly going at it for 6 hours. Like, that is amazing, and that's part of the experience.
Definitely want to get a little bit of cardio workout before you go to one of these things. And also, it's very important you stay hydrated on the field, especially as hot as it is in Southern California right now. It's important to stay hydrated so you don't go down, or like me, puke on the field, or have heat exhaustion, or God forbid, heat stroke. So it's always good to have a lot of extra water on your person, or at least like enough for yourself.
Yeah.
I've actually lately been trying to carry around extra bottles of water in case I run into someone who's dehydrated.
Yeah, definitely. So I think we're running out of time for our topic, so maybe we can sum up what is MILSIM. So I think we went over a couple good points. One thing that MILSIM is the experience. I think that's the first. It's an amazing experience. Movie moments, cinematic, whatever you want to call it. That's what MILSIM is. But to be more specific, a very specific set of rules. That's something that makes MILSIM different than some of the other games, like the magazine requirements, the uniform requirements. The specialized AOs and the vehicles, not always required, but generally that does go with it.
Yeah, that is synonymous with many MILSIM operations. Yeah, I would say military-style uniform, command, rank, and scenario structure. All four of those things are usually military style to give you that military simulation feel.
Yeah, so that's MILSIM. That's what MILSIM is. So if you guys haven't had a chance to experience a MILSIM game, do it. Just definitely do it. If you guys get a chance, plan it out. It is definitely a task to organize, coordinate. If you guys got one locally, or if you guys have an opportunity to travel out, and that's cool too. If you guys get a chance to travel, see some cool AOs, but definitely check out a MILSIM event if you can.
Absolutely. Now, we do have, actually, before we get into new products, I do want to mention, once again, that Daniel, myself, and our editor, Max, are going to be going to American MILSIM's Operation Ironclad this weekend, and we're going to be doing a lot more, I guess, on-the-ground reporting, i.e. with Twitter, Instagram, as well as Facebook. So we're going to be trying to document our journey to our first American MILSIM game pretty continuously throughout the weekend. So make sure to stay up on the GI Facebook, on the GI Instagram, as well as Bob the Axeman, my Instagram, as well as the GI Twitter and Bob the Axeman Twitter. We're going to be pushing out hopefully a lot of content.
Yep.
And also take a look at GI TV Uncut, because we're going to be trying to upload as many videos as we can to GI TV Uncut over the weekend.
Maybe some behind the scenes stuff. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah,
so
that'd be really fun.
Pretty excited.
Yeah.
But hopefully that answers your guys' question of what is MILSIM, and then hopefully we'll have a lot of cool stuff for you guys in the future from Operation Ironclad, which is going to be an amazing MILSIM event.
Absolutely.
So we actually have a lot of new products, so we're going to try to go through that kind of quickly without neglecting anything. First of all, Bob, if you would like to mention this guy.
Yes, we are going through this quick, so I'm not going to take it out of the box. We have the FNX 45. Man, there's a lot of shine on that. Wow. The FNX 45. This is I really like the real steel version of this gun. I fired the Airsoft version. It is pretty awesome. Has a pretty good hard kick, and yeah, I really want one for myself. So, you have any thoughts?
No, this thing
Actually,
is this thing is really
Who am I
pretty.
kidding?
I really like the fact that you can mount a red dot on top of it, and you have the rail below if you want to have a back light. Looks super cool with some mock suppressors as well. It is going to be 16mm threading as well, so it's going to be same as the KWAs. So there are other mock suppressors out there that will work with it, but otherwise this thing is just gorgeous, just simply gorgeous. So we have those in our warehouse right now. Probably like a couple hundred feet, like that way. We have them here. So if you want one, pick them up. If you pre-ordered it, it's already going out. Next, we have the, I don't want to say highly anticipated, but I know a lot of people have been bugging about this, but this is the Magpul PTS EPM or Enhanced Polymer Magazine. These things feed amazingly well. They hold, oh shoot, I'm forgetting the magazine count. I believe it's like 150 or more.
I thought it was 190.
Yes, I think that's what it was, which is a lot for a
no, I was way off. It's 150 round.
Okay.
Yeah.
150. One of the great things is, if you guys can see, is the follower is orange. So when it's filled up all the way, that orange follower will actually show up its window here, letting you know that it's completely filled up. So these are amazing magazines. We have them in black, tan, and OD. The black and tan actually sold out super quick, but we have them on pre-order. We're getting them in super soon. But if you guys want black or tan, pre-order it now. If not, we have ODs in at the moment.
I would like to make a note about this. Some folks are saying this is pricey. That's correct, but I mean, it's not as affordable as some of the mags, but this works with really high rate of fire guns. We first tested this out with Mark's slow guns, and by slow, I mean high rate of fire, and these fed flawlessly. So I highly suggest the EPM mags.
So we also have some great mock suppressors from PTS. We're going to have a Knights armament style
awesome.
mock suppressor. This is actually really cool. That's actually on a custom gun that we're going to show you guys in a minute. But this is going to work in conjunction with the included flash hider, like so. And what's nice about this, and I'll probably demonstrate it on the gun, all you have to do is you pull this side of the mock suppressor and the entire thing comes out. Plus, it just looks amazing.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
Does have some heft to it, but it's nothing that you guys can't handle.
A little bit, yeah.
This is the
trades.
Yes, Knights Armament officially traded, which is dope.
I don't know if you can see that. Whatever, go on.
The next one we have here is the Griffin mock suppressor, also from PTS. By the way, these will come in different colors and different sizes as well. This one is lighter, and this is more, a lot more of a sleek look instead. What are your thoughts on that one?
It is a little bit lighter, but I'm not gonna lie, this one just looks too cool. Like this is, especially even the front end too. That's pretty awesome. And also, actually, it kind of looks like a microphone. I could just talk to it. I don't know, whatever. It looks cool. I really want one actually.
We also have some new Centurion rail systems from PTS. These are going to be coming in, I believe, 7, 9, and 11 inch. I could have that wrong. There's a couple different lengths of these for whatever gun you guys are adding it into. Very solid Royal system, and I really like the trades on it right there. Let me see if I can get the camera to focus. It might be too close. But we have these in a couple different lengths. And let me pull out a couple other new things. Got this.
Yes, it is similar to a golf ball. Not the rail, the barrel extension. All
right, Bob, this one's all you.
All right. This is the Tokunrui Model 870 Breacher. Now, I have the full-length version of this gun. This is obviously the shorter Breacher version. The gas is actually going to be held in here. This is a gas shotgun. And what's unique about this one is the fact that, well, what's unique about this as opposed to other airsoft shotguns is you can switch this between 3-round and 6-round burst, which is awesome. I generally leave it on 6-round. I like this one a little bit more in my full-size version because of the front foregrip, the pump essentially. It's got a finger stop right there. It's a little wider on the back end of the pump, so it's easier to hold. And honestly, it's very lightweight. The only downside I think to this is that the folks at Tokamaroo decided to put a revolver-style hand grip on the shotgun, but that notwithstanding, I kind of wish I'd waited to get this instead of the full size, but I'm really happy with my full size. Still, I think I just want both.
I really like this one. I wasn't a huge fan of the full-size 870 just because the full stock and it's a much bigger gun. But this thing, I had a chance to shoot one of these. It shot amazingly well, so I thought it was great.
Even sounds cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. So that thing's really cool. I'm glad we got that in. Other small knickknacks that we got in, we got for you Magpul PDR owners. This is actually a really nice piece. If you have the Magpul PDR, this is an extension for the pistol grip, which is where the battery goes. The Magpul PTS PDR is a very small, compact gun, and the battery compartment is very, very tiny. That even with my hand, the pistol grip actually stops like right about here. So I kind of have my pinky like half on, half off. This is an extension that will make it easier to hold on to and give you more room for battery.
Yeah, folks some folks might think that's like really not that necessary, but I mean Daniel is correct in my opinion that it does feel a little bit uncomfortable if you have bigger hands than normal or generally large hands. That is going to make it a much more comfortable hold. I would like to note really quickly on this that some folks are asking if you can one-hand pump this. We would not suggest that. You run the risk of breaking it just because it is an airsoft gun. So don't one-hand pump it, but still get it. It's really awesome.
Yes. Okay, so this is the other thing I'm pretty excited about. We have 2 new Airsoft GI customs that will be coming to our website very soon. We don't have official names for them yet because they're still kind of a work in progress. But this is the first one. This is going to be an M4 Echo 1 Platinum M4 base gun with a lot of internal work and obviously a lot of external work. So I'm not going to go into a whole lot of details because we did something different with this. Our world-class tech department constantly is making new Airsoft GI customs. Besides just the FMG4 and the G4 line, they make a lot of amazing customs. And so what we actually did for these 2 customs we're about to show you guys is we documented and recorded the process, and is actually going to be one of our YouTube channels in the near future. So you guys are actually getting a sneak peek. This is going to be a CQB beast. It is going to be shooting around, I believe it is shooting around 30 BBs a second, and the FPS is right around 340, 350. So what Aaron did was we have an MFR rail system on here with a Noveske KFH. I love this look because it's super sleek, super aggressive, and I feel like you just get a really good handle with this gun. The KFH is also going to increase the noise of the gun
quite a bit.
In the back here, we have the Battle Link MFT stock. I believe it's the Battle Link. I could be wrong on this, but
I know it's MFT.
Yes, definitely MFT, but it could be, but it is one of the minimalist stocks where it's as lightweight and as small as profile. Right up my alley. Battery is going to be housed back here in the buffer tube, and we also have a pretty awesome Bravo red dot. I know Aaron was telling me that he specifically chose this red dot because it's very open and it's very easy to get your sights on target.
Yeah, it feels like the mid-range between a hollow sight and one of the micro red dot sights. Definitely just about 50% more room, I would say. It looks cool too. Yeah,
and then the last thing he did was the pistol grip.
Oh yeah, I noticed that.
I forget the name of that pistol grip because I don't have the list in front of me right now, but it's very, very comfortable, very small, low profile. All of it's designed to be as quick and as lightweight as possible for those CQB players.
It is slightly smaller, but the lip on the bottom catches my pinky actually really well. So yeah, that's really comfortable.
Because I have that yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I really like
lip.
that.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right, so here's the other one that you guys might drool over. Ooh. Wow. So Aaron's goal was to make 2 custom guns. One was going to be a CQB Beast, and the other was going to be a semi-automatic DMR sniper rifle. So that's obviously this one. So this one is also going to be an Echo 1 Platinum base. I believe he used an M16 base instead because it's going to be a DMR. And then this was that other mock suppressor I was telling you guys about. This is the same Knights one. Obviously it's painted, but you can see how easy I took that off by just pulling that release. And the nice thing about it is I was concerned at first that like because it was so easy to take off that it was going to come off, but no, it's actually like really rock solid. It's not going to go
Very little
anywhere.
movement, yeah.
Yeah, and then when you hold the release, the whole thing just comes off.
Hmm.
So that is super cool. Looks absolutely amazing in my opinion. And I love the paint job that Aaron did on this. Just looks gorgeous.
Yeah, no, it definitely is going to work in Southern California or other arid environments really well. One of the things I like on this, you know, it's surprising actually. I thought holding this barrel extension earlier, this Mox suppressor, like it was going to add a little bit more weight to the front end, but it really doesn't.
Yeah.
I think the stock on this looks awesome.
Yes.
This is a great looking stock, especially to go with this platform. And this is it's a simple camo paint job, but it actually is going to function really well once again in arid environments. So cheers to the tech department. This is a great job.
Yeah, great. Barrel is going to be free flow all the way through. It is a Mad Bull PWS rail system. The stock is also MFT, but Aaron decided to include the cheek riser, which is usually a separate piece that you have to buy, but he has it included here. This is going to be a Bravo 4x32 scope. What is awesome about the scope is that it has the windage and elevation controls right here without tools.
That's nice.
So you don't have to have, you know, a dime or like a flathead screwdriver to try to adjust it one way or another. So this is a key mod style rail system, so you can get those rail segments and put them wherever you want. But everything about this gun is like a modern DMR. It is semi-automatic, and it is going to be shooting 450 feet per second. I believe it does have a Mad Bull Type bore barrel in there as well too.
Now, let's say some of the folks watching the show want to know where they can find these guns. Where can they go?
There's a website called airsoftgi.com.
Never heard of it.
And it should be on there in the near future. Like I said, we recorded a lot of the process and should be going up on YouTube, which will be a lot of fun.
No, I think more to the point, like where on the website can they go?
Oh, this is going to be under our custom gun section. My apologies. And so under the custom gun sections, if you go to Airsoft Guns on that tab, and then there's going to be like AEGs, gas blowbacks, and pistols and all that. There's going to be Airsoft GI Customs, and there's a full line of customs, which include some of like the Frank Chu pistols, the G4s, FMG4s, stuff like that too. And then once we have these up on the website, we'll put lots of links all over the place for you guys to check them out.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Can you take this?
Yeah, I would gladly take this.
Excellent.
Which one would you prefer?
Oh man, it has to be that one. I mean, nothing against this. It's just I like the camo job. I mean, the camo paint job. It looks cooler. It's probably, you know, I do like playing outdoor a little bit more than I do like playing CQB. And I know you're mostly CQB player, so
definitely. So yeah, I definitely go with this one. So I think we're in agreement with that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's about all the new products that we have. So I think we can try to move over to questions and shoutouts.
Yes. All right. We did have some folks ask for shoutouts earlier, so if you feel like throwing in there again, we can try and get to that. And let's see if there are any questions worth talking about. Actually, that's a good question. Whatever happened to the famed Miracle Barrels?
The Miracle Barrels, we still carry them. One of the troubles is they're so popular, people buy them so quick that we have to try to get more over from, I believe they're made in Taiwan, so sometimes it does take a little bit more time for them to ship overseas. So whenever they go out of stock, we try to get them back in as quickly as possible. But the Mad Bull 603 is actually a very solid barrel as well. Talking to Aaron, I know he was shooting it a little bit, and he said the range was phenomenal, so it should be a really, really good gun.
Yeah, I will admit, like once the Miracle Barrels came in, I saw how effective they were.
Mm-hmm.
I bought one immediately.
Nice.
Bob, if you're reading this, say you're reading this again. ID sickness. There you go.
Here's a question from Black Eagle. Thoughts on the VFC M&P full size? I think that's a very solid gun. VFC makes great guns. I'm glad they're making gas blowbacks, and the AEGs are phenomenal. This is an Echo 1 Platinum, which is OEM'd by VFC. So these are actually the base gun of choice from our tech department because they're so solid and they're compatible with almost every part internally and externally. I know Mark has the M&P full auto on his desk. He kind of fiddles with it all the time, but I think it's a very solid gun. The full auto is a nice bonus feature.
That is a very nice bonus feature. And in fact, the M&P 9C, the shorty version, can empty the mag on full auto in less than a second. So it holds 12 rounds, and it fires at 13 rounds a second.
Ah, that's great. That's great.
Shout out to Justin. Oh, it's gone. Justin Meisler? Shoot.
I did want to mention the M&P full auto, the one you just mentioned, is a gun that you can win on the sniper giveaway. In fact, I know there was a customer that won it a few weeks back, so that's one of the guns that you can win if you guys enter our sniper giveaway.
Well played. Justin Messler, your shout out is approved, as well as Nicholas Figueroa's shout out, which is likewise approved. Let's see. Let's see. Go ahead.
There was a question from Killer Tron saying if we're going to be at the Airsoft Expo in Jericho. We will be there. I don't believe me and Bob will be there, but we are sending other marketing team members. I believe Bill is going to be there for that event, hanging out at the GI tent, and another Airsoft GI employee. So they'll be out there playing and hanging out with you guys, and we have a couple cool raffles that we're going to be setting you guys up with as well. So I haven't had a chance to check out that event, but I hear it's a lot of fun. So we'll definitely see you guys out there.
Andrew Amadio or Amedio, sorry if I got your name wrong. I'm so sorry. Your shout out has been approved. Also, Cooper Dyer, your shout out has been approved.
I thought I saw a question about the Texas store.
Yeah, someone was asking when exactly we're coming to the Dallas, Texas area.
Ooh, we can't say yet. It's soon.
It is super classified.
Yes, it's super classified. If you guys have not heard, we are coming to the Dallas, Texas, Fort Worth area, and we are going to be opening up a retail store out there, and I'm very excited, and it should be a lot of fun, especially since our retail store out in Virginia was a blast. The grand opening was one of the biggest openings I've ever seen, or at least like store sales, I should say. And we just had a lot of people come out. We had a lot of raffle prizes. We had a lot of giveaways, and it was just amazing. So if you guys are in the Texas area, keep an eye on all of our media, and we'll definitely let you guys know as soon as it is declassified.
Absolutely. Also getting declassified right now, Cameron Gordon and the Western Highlands Airsoft team are getting their shout out approved.
That one was classified for a while.
I know, it was very seriously classified.
Yeah, definitely intense.
Cooper Dyer, I did give you a shout out, but this is probably on the delay, so you didn't notice it until just now. Raiders Airsoft team has their shout out approved.
There's a question from I don't know how to pronounce that. Nudge Returns something.
Nug
Nug Returns.
That's a funny name.
What are the thoughts on the Chris Vector? The Chris Vector has a crazy amount of range considering the size of the gun and the barrel of the gun. I don't understand it. My buddy Brian has a Chris Vector, and I've used it a couple times, and that thing shoots crazy far. I really don't understand it. Personally, I'm not a fan of the ergonomics of it, just because of the shape and size. It is, definitely different, a little bigger and bulkier, but in terms of performance and functionality, that thing works great. The 2-round burst,
awesome.
I shot.
Jet. Was Jet?
Yes, I shot Jet in the head through a helmet hole.
A vent hole, yeah.
A vent hole. We were playing at Hollywood Sports, and this was like months back, and it was, I forget if it was 100 games or what it was, but he was like going down or something like this, and I see him from a distance, and he doesn't see me, and it was a 2-round burst, so I had like, one kind of towards his chest, and it did kick up, just a little bit, just because it is airsoft, but he goes, pa-pa! One hits him in the chest, and I guess the other one goes through that vent hole and hits him in the head.
I'm almost positive that was Hunger Games, because I remember he was bent down to pick up a gun, and then like he got hit in the top of the head, and he almost hit the concrete. Yeah, I almost dropped the concrete. He's like, "Oh my God, how did you do that?"
Yeah,
it hurts.
It's Chris magic.
Yeah, Chris magic.
That's what it is.
ID Sickness, I will see you at the Rebel Training Camp. I hope you're going to make it out there. I appreciate you saying that. Shout out to Ace MILSIM Airsoft in Chesterfield, Virginia. Well played and good location. I actually saw another shout out I was hoping to get to. Oh darn. Oh well, we'll keep going. Let's see if we got any questions. Has anyone won anything from the sniper giveaway? That was from Paul Bursky or Bursk.
Oh, a lot of people actually have won stuff. Dozens and dozens of people. The way the sniper giveaway works is we have a lot of prizes. Essentially, it's an online raffle. When you make an order with us, you get a passcode. You enter that passcode into a website, and that will generate a chance to win different prizes. So the prizes will range anything from epic sniper rifles, JPC, tactical gear and stuff like that. And there's also some smaller stuff of like BBs and kill rag and stuff like that. So you'll have a chance to win these prizes. So a lot of people have actually won. I was looking at the list today. People have already won JPCs, and there was like the BCT3 chest rig, the MMP full size as well. So this is a promotion and a giveaway that we're continuing all the way this month and all the way next month as well too. So that's where you can make as many orders as you want to get multiple chances to win, and the orders can be as small as possible. So a lot of people have actually won stuff already, so jump on that as soon as you guys can.
Okay, so I got two things. That epic guy 314, as requested, your shout out has been disapproved.
Oh, wow.
That's what he asked for. Also, some folks actually had a really interesting question. Evo release date.
Pending.
Yeah, I mean, what can we say about that?
Yeah, it's still in the works. It's coming. It's coming very soon. I know they're making progress on it, but we don't have any hard release date on it yet. So as soon as we get a hard release date, I'll definitely let you guys know. Everything that we've seen, the prototypes and the samples have been amazing and blown us away. So it's going to be a great airsoft guns once it's released, and I love how all these new companies are incorporating new technologies, such as MOSFETs and stuff like that too. So no further details, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Elite Army Airsoft, your shout out is approved. Just like USNA Airsoft shout out is approved.
Nice.
Okay, Dion Franklin, your shout out is approved. Let's see what else we got.
All right, so we're coming to the end of our show, so we'll try to answer a few more questions and maybe a few more shout outs.
That's funny.
No, that's good.
That was a good comment. Let's see. Good questions.
There's a question from Fuzzy Gamer asking what was the best M4 between $250 and $400. I'm gonna probably go closer to the 400 mark. The Crytek M4s are absolutely amazing. KWAs are super solid. VFCs like the Echo and Platinums.
That's what I was gonna say.
Those are all really stellar guns. We have some Airsoft GI customs that are great. The
FMG4s.
Yeah, those are nice, but see, those don't even hit the 400 mark because they're a lot less expensive than that, which is nice because it's a full metal M4 with a rail system and Lonix internals.
Yeah, Lonix is awesome.
Can't go wrong with that, too.
Lonix, however you said it.
Yeah, definitely. Any last questions or shout-outs?
Shout-outs for Marpat operators on the East Coast. Your shout-out has been approved.
You guys better be coming to Bowser Rebel Training Camp.
You better be.
Awesome.
1000 M Chief, shout-out, approved.
Question from Relevant Eagle is asking, how do I enter the sniper giveaway? Make any order on airsoftgi.com or gitactical.com if you guys want your stuff shipped out from the East Coast for faster shipping times on that coast. And then you will receive a passcode once you complete your order. You enter that passcode into the giveaway page, which it'll be linked to once you guys get the passcodes and all that. And then you type it in and you then see if you're a winner or not. Hopefully you're a winner.
Did have a question, or no, I think it's just a shout out from Chairsoft or Elite. I'm not ignoring you. It's just a lot of comments to go through.
A lot of comments.
Let's see. Shout out for Chairsoft or Elite. It's been approved.
Nice.
All right, and let's see if there are any other good. Oh, actually, someone just asked about if we're going to or what our thoughts are on Balahag's Operation Revelation or Revelations.
I have never been there. I want to go there so
I know
bad.
that's what I want to bring up because Daniel here has never been to Balahag, and I love just like mentioning how much fun I've had there.
Oh my gosh.
And also, if a lot of you aren't familiar with it, Revelations is a really cool op that they throw, I believe, every year, and hopefully we will be able to get to go to it. If not, the GI Tactical staff will hopefully be able to get to go to it.
Yeah, I believe they will be going out to that event, so they should be out there with Airsoft GI banner and GI Tactical stuff, so it should be fun.
Yeah. Mr. Muncherman TV, your shout out has been approved. And Relevant Eagle 22 FN, interesting name, shout out, approved. And Henry Niehaus, please forgive me if I mispronounce your name, your shout out has been approved. As well as Nug Nug Returns, your shout out is approved.
Okay, I think this will be probably our last question because I've seen it multiple times. Ben Rusnick is asking the SMP versus the Polar Star, Bob, please.
Oh, darn, that's a tough one. In fact, I'm probably not the best person to ask because I'm not the biggest fan of those similar setups like the SMP and the Polar Stars because you don't have feedback on the gun. And I can't really speak that well to the SMP because I haven't seen it in action or been able to use it myself. However, I can talk about the effectiveness of Polar Stars. Even though I wouldn't normally choose to use them because of the lack of feedback, I have seen how ridiculously effective they are in the airsoft battlefield, as well as on the competitive scene. They are very effective because of their high rate of fire, the fact that you can tune them up or down, as well as the rate of fire, and they're also very good for sniper platforms, as Josh and all of us found out, and Irene, if you get an Orga barrel or a wide bore barrel and you get a Polar Star setup, it projects, it can basically, you have enough air going around it so it has a cushion along the outside of the BB so that there's no bumping or jarring on the BB. You're going to get really just stunning range and also accuracy out of that with the right setup.
Definitely. All right, so I think it's going to be the last question because we're actually over time. I believe it's from Jabin. He was asking what are your thoughts, or do you approve of the Lancer Tactical JPC? I'm going to say yes, so much so that I'm actually using a Lancer Tactical JPC this weekend at American MILSIM's Ironclad. So yeah, I'm going to a super awesome MILSIM event, and I'm using the Lancer JPC. So if that isn't validation for you, I don't know what is. So yeah, I would highly recommend that. Very functional, very sleek, and low profile. Carries everything that you need with the built-in pockets. I absolutely love that. So yeah, if you are interested in that, definitely pick it up.
All right, well, that's going to do it for our live show today on September 16th of 2014. Got the year correct this time. Once again, I'm Bob the Axeman Hildebrand, and this is
Daniel.
Yeah. It's GI TV Live Show. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. Thanks for stopping by.
See you next week.